love that is patient would say to you, no matter who you're looking at right now, that you recognize that this is the most important moment of your life. What's in the past is in the past, and what's in the future is yet to come. This is the moment. And how often do we lose this moment? Because we've got our mind on what we have to do next. We got to stop at the grocery store. We've got a meeting later, or your next podcast, what's going on, and not be fully engaged and fully in the moment.
Welcome to GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, aka the Going North Podcast. I'm your host, best-selling author, and certified self-leadership trainer with the John Maxwell team, DomBrightmon. And this is the podcast where authors from around the world help you realize that success is tangible. You'll leave with at least one new tip of inspiration or information or even motivation every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. Now let's get on with the show. Coming at you again before the official episode officially starts with another review to highlight and read before the folks listening around the globe and the pancake indeed. This review is titled, Dom's the Dude. Dom is a stand-up guy with a huge passion for development and growth. I had the pleasure of being a guest on his show, and he was a guest on mine. He's a bright spot in the podcasting world. This show is the truth. And that was a 5-star review from Alex Dumas of Abundance Daily. And he's got a podcast of his own, so look him up and check out what he's doing as well. And if you too would like to leave a review about the podcast, or even hosts, and we'll read it aloud, head over to goingnorthpodcast.com. Now let's get on with today's interview. And today on the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, known as GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, we got another super special, awesome human that can fit all three of those G's and more, courtesy of podmatch.com, baby. That's right, indeed, where podcast guests get to link up with podcast hosts and the possibility to be on the shows. At today's guest, she's the cream of the crop, y'all. That's right, indeed. All the cupcakes have no icing no more, because she is all the icing indeed, because today's featured guest is a best-selling author, baby. That's right, indeed, a best-selling author, as well as a director of a humanitarian organization, a sought-after speaker, and a fellow child of the king, baby. So let's give it up for Miss KS herself, the kind and stupendous Kim Sorrelle. How you doing today, Kim?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Doing fabulous. That's right, indeed.
A good answer. I like fabulous. That's a great word.
Oh, yeah, that's right, indeed. Fabulous, happy, chocolatey, yeah, all the good stuff.
Good, all good stuff.
That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. Well, as with all introductions, are not allowed to be 76 days long, and since it's your first time on the show, try to get the backstory of the guest for the folks listening at home or in their cars. So I'm filling us in on who is the one and only Special K herself.
Yeah. Well, I was going to be the first woman president. That was my plan when I was in high school. I had my life laid out before me. And then at the end of my senior year in high school, I met the man of my dreams. I didn't plan on getting married or having children. And then this man came along, and I fell truly, madly, deeply in love, and spent some time in college, but then got married and started having babies a couple years later. And I started my first business right out of high school. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, have been my whole life. And I have been through a couple things that have sort of changed the trajectory, changed my priorities, I guess. I was diagnosed a few years ago with breast cancer. And 4 months later, my husband was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And he passed away 6 weeks after that. And so life changed. I thought I was going to be that 90-year-old woman on the porch with my husband in rockers drinking lemonade, smiling at each other or whatever. And then all of a sudden I was 47 years old and alone. And it made me question life. Am I doing it right? Did I do it right with him? We had a great marriage. I loved him a ton. He loved me. But what is love really? I mean, there's all these songs and poems and shows and, Nicholas Sparks and Katy Perry, whoever sings about it, whoever writes about it. But what is it really? And I thought, I need to figure this out. I need to figure life out and see what God has for me next. And I thought, well, there was a man who wrote a book about living a year like Jesus. And I thought, wow, I couldn't wait to read the book because, boy, that would change your life, right? No matter who you think Jesus is, that's going to transform your life. Whether you think he's just a prophet or whatever, he was a man of peace. He loved people, it would change your life. But Jesus is different to different people. And then I thought, well, God is love. John, it says God is love. John says God is love. So if God is love, then what does that mean? How do you be love? Not just give love or show love, but how do you be love? So how do you do that? And then Paul laid out for us the love chapter, right? Love is patient, love is kind, does not envy, does not boast. So I thought, I'm going to dedicate a year to figuring out love. I'm going to figure out what this is, so the true meaning of love, and using that beautiful poem, love is patient, love is kind, does not envy, does not boast, etc., as a roadmap. And so I decided I would take one word a month and really focus in on it and figure out, what is love that is patient? What is love that is kind? Well, a couple things I figured out quickly. One is there are 14 is and isn't of love. So I did the math and figured out it's going to take me longer than a year. So it did take me longer than a year. But I'll tell you what, Dom, what I discovered rocked my world. I learned things about love that no one maybe has ever heard before. I certainly was never taught a lot of the things that I learned about love. And what I learned would change anybody's life and would change the world.
Ah, yes, indeed. Change the world, indeed. That's right, indeed. Not just quarters, but hearts and minds, maybe change the world, indeed. That's right, indeed. That's right. No wonder she's freaking gorgeous, y'all, because she is being loved, y'all. That's right, indeed. And that's one heck of a phrase I love. And instead of just giving love, being love, indeed, actually embodying it in your life. And especially the patience piece, which I feel like is filled with credit card debt at the moment nowadays. It seems like with people, as opposed to patience in abundance, or at least patience in the black or the green. It feels like it's in the red now today. So my goodness, so with love being patient, what do you think holds people back from really truly being patient even now today, where folks feel like they're probably even 10 times hurried more than ever?
That's such a great question and such a great way to put it. Nobody has ever put it that way before, but it's absolutely true. And I was, most of the time that I was doing this quest on this journey, I was in Haiti. So it added a little bit different twist to my life and to what was going on around me. And I start each chapter with what I think it is. So love is patient, very first one out of the gate. And so I know what patience is. You know what patience is, right? You're not honking your horn if you're stuck in traffic. You're not, like you said, buying it right now when you don't have the money. You're too impatient, and so we know what patience is. But what is love that is patient? And so I searched for it. And every single month, it took me till the end of the month to really figure it out. So I start out in my book, I start out with what I think it is. And then I tell the story of what happens in Haiti that brings me to the realization. So this is what I found out about love is patient. So love that is patient is different than patience. I believe you're supposed to love everybody, right? I mean, way back in Leviticus, we're told, love everybody. We're told it way back then. And then Jesus repeats it a few times, right? When he's on earth. And so love everybody, love everybody. So if you do love everybody, love that is patient would say to you, no matter who you're with, no matter who you're looking at right now, that you recognize that this is the most important moment of your life. What's in the past is in the past, and what's in the future is yet to come. This is the moment. And how often do we lose this moment? Because we've got our mind on what we have to do next. We got to stop at the grocery store. We've got a meeting later, your next podcast, what's going on, something that happened yesterday with the kids' ball game or whatever it happened to be, and not be fully engaged and fully in the moment. And this moment is going to come and go with or without you. So you get to choose. You're going to be here or not be here. And if you love the person you're with, and again, loving everybody. So the person at the grocery store, your next door neighbor, your partner, your kid, whoever it is, love everybody. And if you show them love that is patient, you are right there with them, fully, completely looking them in the eye with your ears wide open. And I'll tell you what happens when you love that way. When you give love that way, you live love that way, you hear things you never would have heard. I thought I was the greatest multitasker in the history of the world. Like, I could be in a full on conversation. I could be thinking about my to-do list. I could be doing some laundry and balancing the checkbook probably all at the same time. And I learned quickly it's not true. It's not, I am not a multitasker. To be fully engaged, I have to let everything else leave my mind and be fully engaged and be right here in the moment. And it took me some practice as a type A personality from a type A personality dad and grandpa and on and on and on, I'm sure. It took me a bit to settle down the mind and really be focused and listen. And then I discovered that instead of being ready with my rebuttal or assuming what they're going to say because of whatever label I've put on them, assuming that, well, they're a Democrat, so they're going to say this. They're a Republican, they're going to say this. They're, they live in that neighborhood, so this is what they're going to say. This is what they do for a living. This is what they're going to say. But taking all the labels away and being person to person, heart to heart, and showing love that is patient, you hear things that you never would have heard before. And you recognize quickly that people are people all over the world. And we are all individuals. And we are all beautifully created to be individuals. And when we can get to a point where we take the labels away and you're Dom and I'm Kim, and that's it. You're Dom, I'm Kim, that's it. That's who we are. And when you take all those labels away and you can bring it down to that, then you can connect. Then you can appreciate, and then you can not judge. There's no room for judgment, no room for racism, no room for criticism, really, no room for, I need to fix you because it's not my job. My job is to love. That's my only job. So when you bring it down to that, man, relationships, everything changes. Everything changes.
Yes, indeed. I can say that again, indeed. That's right. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed, baby. That's right, indeed. That good. Unconditional love right there, indeed. So, my goodness, with a lot of folks, when it comes to putting their books together, they probably have challenges, but sounds like you probably didn't have that much of a challenge at all since the groundwork was done for those 14 months. So did you have any setbacks on your way to finally getting to hit the publish button on your book on Love Is?
Well, I'll tell you, what was hard was living the 14 months. I mean, that was the tough part. Like, there's so many words that seem so obvious. Kind, we know what kind is, there's so many that seem so obvious. And then others that were more of a challenge, but they all ended up being a challenge. Because when you put love is or love is not in front of any word, it changes the definition of the word. So here I'm thinking what Noah Webster had to say. And instead it's like, no, God had something else to say. There's something else there. It's not all about the definition in the dictionary. And so every single month was a challenge. And every single month, it took me a whole month. I don't know if I'm a slow learner or what, but it took me a long time to figure out what is love that is kind, what is love that does not envy, does not boast. And so many things happened along the way. I was chased by a motorcycle gang. I got lost on a mile-high mountain with a medical student in the dark. So many things happened, and I just tell those stories. But one of them that I dreaded, that I was not looking forward to at all, is love does not keep a record of wrongs. Right? Like, what does that mean? Because when something happens to us, we might forgive, but we don't forget. It's not like I say, I feel like you wronged me. I was hurt by what you said or what you did to me, but I forgive you. So now it's out of my mind. I no longer remember it. So what does it mean? Well, the month that I was working on that, I got a phone call from a pastor who wanted to take down a group of men from the United States and look at a water project that I was working on in Haiti. And they were thinking about getting involved in it. And so they asked if I'd meet them down there. So there were 8 men from the United States. And then I brought 2 Haitian friends to come along and translate. And they know the water project real well. So they were going to help with installation and all of that. And so we drive out to the countryside. We're staying in a place I'd never been before. They arranged for the place. And we get there, and there's 8 American men, 2 Haitian men, me. And we get there, and behind this cement wall is this tiny little building with 2 rooms. And in each room, there are 4 twin-size beds, 8 Americans, 2 Haitians, me. And so the head guy pulls me over. And there was room in the rooms. We brought a couple cots. We brought an air mattress. So I'm thinking, we'll fit, it'll be okay. All is well. And you only go in there to sleep because it's hot in Haiti. So you don't hang out inside. You go in there, you sleep, you get up, and you're out of the room. Well, so the head guy of the 8 men pulled me aside. Kim, can I talk to you? Sure. So I walk over and he said, did you see the rooms? And I'm thinking, buddy, there's nothing else to see. Like, this is a little place. It's not like, some palatial mansion. Yes, of course I saw the rooms. And then I thought, oh, he's asking me because he thinks I'm going to want my own room. So I'll say to him, well, that's okay. I'll sleep outside. And he'll say, oh no, if anyone should sleep inside, it should be you. And I'll say, well, I don't mind if there's other people in my room. And he'll say, well, good, because there's only so much space. I had it all worked out in my head. So I said, well, it's okay. I'll sleep outside. And he said, oh, good. Because we have men on our trip that would not be comfortable with a woman in their room. And I'm thinking, what is going to happen in the heat of Haiti with several people in a room? Like, I wear pajamas to bed. Like, I don't know what they think is going to happen, but I said I'd sleep outside. So now I had to do it. I had to figure it out. And so I looked around, and there was this piece of plywood that was held up by sort of, sawhorses, like, these little wooden structures. If I sleep under there, at least if it rains, I'm okay. So the first night we go to bed, and I blow up the air mattress, crawl in, and I was so afraid of something crawling on me, landing on me, biting me, whatever it would be. I mean, there's tarantulas, there's snakes, there's chupacabras, I don't know, whatever's lurking in the bushes of Haiti, right? And that was my biggest fear. Well, so I slept on my back so I could get up and run if I needed to get up and run. I mean, I figured that was the best position. So I go in. Well, my air mattress held air for about an hour. Then I'm just on the ground, and dogs are barking. It was so loud, and horns honking. It was just so loud. Finally, sometime after midnight, that died down. About 2 a.m., the voodoo drum started in the distance, and then that kept me awake for a couple more hours, and then that died down. Finally, in the early morning hours, I was able to get some sleep. So the first night came and went, no incident. Everything was fine. So great. Second night came, same thing. I had air for about an hour. It was so loud, the dogs, the horns, the voodoo drums. Finally, I'm sleeping. And I woke up because there was something on my leg. And I was scared to death. I thought, what could be on my leg? Is it going to bite off my leg? Does Haiti have the anti-venom to whatever it is that's going to bite me? Are they going to be able to airlift me to Miami in time? Like, what can it be? What is going to happen? And so I slowly lifted my head, and I slowly opened my eyes, and it was a chicken. There was a chicken on my leg. And I didn't know whether to be mad because this chicken woke me up, or happy because it was a chicken and not something much worse. And so I shooed it away. It interrupted my only couple hours of sleep. So the next night came and went, and same thing, the dogs, the horns, everything else, but nothing happened that night. So the fourth night, again, the air is gone and it is loud. And finally, I'm able to doze off. And again, I woke up because again, there was something on my leg. And I was so afraid. And so I slowly lifted my head, and I slowly opened my eyes. And again, it was the dang chicken. And again, I didn't know whether to be mad or happy. I didn't know what to be. Well, that night we had chicken for dinner. So the fifth night was all good and fine. There was nothing to be landing on my leg. And at first, I was kind of mad. I was a little bitter at these guys, right? Like, I'm all about women's equality, of course, of course. But I'm still a woman, and there's still a difference between men and women. And to just assume, and to be honest, one of the things that I was even more upset with them about is they assumed that the 8 American men should get the rooms. My 2 Haitian friends slept on cots outside under this overhang, and they just assumed that the American men should get the rooms, and I didn't like that. They should have drawn straws. They should have moved the other 2 cots into the rooms. They should have done something. Like, I didn't think that was appropriate, but I was mad. I'm sleeping outside, the only woman sleeping outside. My 2 Haitian friends are sleeping outside under this overhang, whatever. And I wasn't real happy about it. Like, I thought, man, who are these guys? I hope my sons wouldn't behave this way, right? And then it hit me. I was working on Love Does Not Keep a Record of Wrongs. And here I am, bitter and angry. And then I realized, well, bitterness only hurts me. They don't know I'm mad. I didn't say anything like, I need to sleep inside. I didn't tell them that. They can't read my mind. And bitterness is only going to damage my soul, hurt my heart. They don't even know that I'm angry, which is most of the time when we're angry at somebody, they don't even know. They're clueless. And so I realized that, yeah, I'll never forget what happened. I mean, it was pretty intense. But love that doesn't keep record of wrongs changes the narrative. So the story, instead of being this, oh my gosh, look at what these men did to me, that's so awful, these horrible men, it's, well, you know what? It's kind of a funny story, something that happened to me. I could now literally sleep anywhere in the world and be perfectly fine. And so it changed the whole story. So instead of the bitterness, it's just something that happened. And that's what love that doesn't keep record of wrongs does. It changes the narrative. Change your heart to change the story.
There you go. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Keeping no record of wrongs, yo. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Sometimes we play ourselves and be like, dang gummit, I thought this plan was going to work. It failed at first contact. They were selfish this whole time. Crap. Well, I'm not going to be selfish. I'm going to learn how to rough it, darn it.
That's right. You can do it. I am woman here before.
That's right indeed. She had the Katy Perry song in her head this whole time about the lion roar. That's right indeed. Oh man. So my goodness. So was that your first ever trip to Haiti, or was that just the first time you have, I guess, in a way, kind of being somewhat of a tour guide for other folks to be in Haiti with you?
Well, my first trip to Haiti was in the late 90s. I've been to Haiti a few times. I run a nonprofit organization. We do a lot of work in Haiti and Dominican Republic and a couple other places, Burkina Faso and West Africa. And so we're a partner organization, just walking alongside people, helping them with whatever it is they need to fulfill the mission that they believe God has given them and in their own country. And they understand the culture, they understand the language, and they understand the true need. And they just a lot of times need funding, or they need a business plan. They need a way to be self-sustaining eventually. And they need desks if it's a school, I mean, people have needs. They have a dream, but they have a need. So that's what we do. So I'd been there. And then when after my husband died, I still had some cancer stuff to deal with. But at the end of that year, when I was finally done dealing with all of it, I ran into a man who was running an organization that my dad and I had started 10 years before then. And I said, hey, do you need any help with anything? How about bookkeeping? And he's like, oh, yeah. If you could be the bookkeeper, because I wasn't sure what I was going to do next. I had resigned from my nonprofit that I was working for then, and I could go back into my businesses, but I had people in place. And I thought, well, what am I going to do? And so I became, on January 1 that year, I became a part-time bookkeeper. And then 12 days later, there was an earthquake in Haiti that killed 200,000 people.
Mm.
So within 2 weeks, I was on the ground. And then for the next several years, I was in Haiti at least part of every month. So I have spent a ton of time in Haiti. So then, when I went on this quest, this journey to really figure out love, that's really kind of where I have to be. And it was a great place to do it, for sure.
Ah, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And the name of that nonprofit, if folks want to donate, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Rays of Hope International.
Ah, there you go. That Rays of Hope International, baby. That's right, indeed. We're going to put a link to that in the show notes, indeed, in case folks want to contribute. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. Just as a shout out. Indeed, so the help can keep on being helping or helpful. That's right,
Right.
indeed. They may even help with my bad grammar at times. Let me stop.
Well, we do help a lot of schools, so maybe we can get you hooked up with one.
There you go. That's right. Hashtag kind Kim indeed. So my goodness, since you've been on quite a few of these podcasts in recent history, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often when you're on the guest side of the game on these podcasts?
I wish that just a simple question of, well, okay, you did this journey, but what is love? How would you define it? What is love? I think is a great question. So I can answer that for you. So, so there's these 14, right? Is's and isn't of love, and each one of them is unique. And each one of them tells a different story. Each one of them is part of the whole, right? So each one of them plays a significant part. And so each one is valuable. But the overarching arc, the the umbrella that covers it all, the thing that brings all 14 together is that love, walking, talking, doing, breathing, living, giving love, the love that God is complete and total freedom. You are free from judging, free from so much. You realize it's not your job to fix people. It's not your job to tell people what they're doing wrong. You allow people to live who they are. Love says, allow people to be who they believe they're created to be, no matter what that is. Have conversation and love the person. And no matter what, you can totally disagree with them. It's okay to disagree. That's not loving. You're just disagreeing. You just have a different opinion. But people are allowed to have different opinions. So love allows people to have opinions that are not yours. And it's perfectly fine. So it's just complete freedom because all you have to do is love. All you have to do is love. So you are free from the chains that bind you to a political group or that bind you to a people group or that bind you to a sexuality or bind you to whatever it happens to be, where then you cast judgment on everything that is not that. It's free. You are free to just love everybody without judgment, without condemnation, there's no room for racism. There's no room for discrimination. With love, there's none of that. That is not love. And love just is. And love is 100% on you. You go to pre-marriage classes or, might read in couples books or whatever, but really applies to any relationship. They'll say, oh, it's got to be 50-50 or it's got to be 100-100. Well, you can't put a number on love. There's no number on love. And you don't only have so much. You're not given a pot of love. And so you got to be careful who you give it to because you don't want to give it all away because you only have so much. No, you have as much love as you want to have. Love is more and more and more. There's no such thing as a cap on the amount of love that you can live and give. So loving is 100% on you. If you love somebody because of what they can do for you, or you love them expecting them to give you love back because you're loving them, then that's no longer love. Then you're doing something to get something. That's not love. Love is 100% on you. Stop looking for, well, shoot, I did this for them. I brought them a casserole when they were sick, and where are they at my daughter's wedding? I went to their daughter's wedding, then that's not love. That's not showing kindness. You did something kind, but then you ruined it by expecting a thank you note in return or expecting anything in return. Love has zero expectations of anything in return. Love is love, period. Love loves, period. So love is complete and total freedom. You're not worried about when am I going to get my return dinner, invitation, whatever. You're not worried about when are they going to start listening to me about what I know is the absolute truth. You don't worry about any of that stuff. You don't think about any of that stuff. You live, love, it becomes who you are. You live it. There's not anything that can give you freedom like living love does.
Yeah, that's right indeed. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. It pays to keep score every now and then, but not with everything. Not everything's a football game, darn it.
Right, but doggone it, in football, you better be keeping score. we want to know who's going to win that game.
That's right indeed. That's right indeed. So my goodness, that powerful indeed. So my goodness, so if your wonderful book, Love Is, if that book was a food, what would it be and why?
If that book was a food, it would be a hot fudge sundae because it'd be warm and rich and luscious and creamy and gooey and all things good and wonderful. And that's what it would be.
And I almost thought you were going to say black licorice for a second.
It could be black licorice, but not everybody likes black licorice. Not everybody likes hot fudge sundae, but yeah, it certainly could be black licorice. One of my personal favorites.
That's right indeed. Love is a hot fudge sundae, y'all. That's right indeed. We all scream for ice cream indeed, baby. That's right indeed. It don't have to be a Ben or a Jerry, y'all. That's right indeed. That hot fudge sundae indeed. That's right indeed. So my goodness, coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive, and that is if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but you're still in 2022, what advice would you give to yourself?
Slow down. Slow down. Life is not a race. We're not running against each other. We're walking with each other. And slow down and take time and be present.
Oh, yeah, y'all. That's right indeed. That's right. Slow down, y'all. That's right indeed. You don't have to be a cheetah all the time. That's right. Sometimes you can be a turtle. That's right. Maybe be a snail, leave a trail.
It was pretty good.
That's right indeed. That's right indeed. And I know folks need to leave a trail of emojis and wonderful shares and wonderful book reviews for your books and books to come. So my goodness, so for those who need to keep in contact with you and keep up with your journey, what's the best way for folks to do so, Kim?
Well, I am literally the only Kim Sorrelle spelled my way in the entire world because my last name has an obnoxious number of letters. There are 2 R's, 2 E's, 2 L's. It's just way too long, too many everything. SORRELLE. KimSorrelle.com is my website, but an easier way to get there is loveis.info. But Kim Sorrelle, I'm on all the social media platforms. My book is very easy to find. It's on Amazon. It's on every bookseller online. It's in brick and mortar stores like Barnes and Noble and other stores across the country and beyond. And I'll tell you, it's been quite a journey. It's been amazing because I love hearing from people, and there are small groups that are all buying my book and then doing it together, doing like a chapter a month. There are families. I hear from families that buy a copy for all their adult kids, and they're meeting on Zoom once a month to talk about a chapter. And there are companies even buying it because love is universal. love isn't just for the church. Love isn't just for family. Love is universal. It's for everything, everywhere. And so companies that are buying it for their executives and then all reading it together and figuring out how to have a better culture within their company. And so it's been great. Most people don't just buy one, they buy a couple because they want to give one away. And I'm just excited to spread the love because I really do believe love will change the world. It's what will change the world is love.
Yes, indeed. Spread the love, y'all. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. Spread the love, y'all. Indeed, that's right. The earth is a bagel, and we are the cream cheese. Let's spread the love, y'all. I'm telling you. That's right, indeed. Spread that love, indeed. Snacks, copies of Gibbs' book. Share it with your friends, family, cat, dog, penguin, camel, heck, even a kangaroo. And then you know what? Stick a whole pouch inside of a kangaroo pouch. That's right, indeed. A whole pouch of books, y'all. That's right. A whole sack. That's right. A sack of like 30 in a kangaroo, so that way the kangaroo can deliver some love to random folks. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. That's right. Especially if the kangaroo is named Kim. That's right, indeed. Spread the Kim everywhere.
Make sure that bagel's toasted then if you're going to be doing that. I like them.
That's right, indeed. You heard it here, folks. Oh, that's right, indeed. You heard it here, folks. So, my goodness, Kim, any parting words before we close up shop?
I love you, Dom. Thank you for doing this. I know that you bring great value to a lot of people's lives. I pray that your audience just grows and grows with you because not everybody puts themselves out there like you do. And brother, I just think it's wonderful. Thank you for this incredible opportunity.
Thanks a bunch for gifting us with your time and your ears to this podcast. If you want to make yourself even more super special awesome, like, subscribe, and share this with somebody that you care about and spread the word so that way we can get this show out to as many people as possible and encourage them and inspire them to one day become published authors of their own and join the business of immortality. Advance others to advance yourself.